The sun was just beginning to dip below the horizon, casting a warm golden hue across the suburban landscape as Marcus stepped out of his car. The faint sound of cicadas filled the air, blending with the rustle of leaves in the gentle evening breeze. He looked up at the mansion before him, a stunning architectural masterpiece that seemed to whisper promises of a better life. The sprawling estate, with its grand columns and perfectly manicured lawn, stood as a testament to the dreams he had nurtured for so long. Marcus's heart raced as he imagined his life unfolding within those walls, a life filled with laughter, love, and the fulfillment of aspirations that had fueled his determination over the years. Background: who is Marcus? At 30 years old, Marcus had worked tirelessly to build a life for himself. Growing up in a modest neighborhood, he had seen firsthand the struggles his parents faced. His father, a mechanic, and his mother, a school teacher, had instilled in him the values of hard work, resilience, and the importance of education. As a child, he often dreamt of owning a home, envisioning a place where he could create lasting memories with his family. This dream became a driving force in his life, motivating him to push through challenges and remain focused on his goals. With each paycheck he earned working as a software engineer, Marcus diligently saved, sacrificing nights out with friends and the latest gadgets. He attended community college and later transferred to a reputable university, where he graduated with honors. His hard work paid off. He secured a job at a thriving tech company and was finally in a position to buy a home. After years of saving, he felt he was ready to make that dream a reality. Setting the scene: a luxurious mansion. As he approached the entrance, the mansion loomed larger, its exterior a blend of classic and modern elements, adorned with elegant stonework and expansive glass windows that sparkled in the fading light. The doors swung open, revealing a lavish foyer with high ceilings and a grand chandelier that hung like a statement piece. The scent of fresh paint and polished wood mingled with the faint aroma of lavender from a nearby arrangement of flowers, creating an inviting atmosphere that felt almost surreal. Marcus felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as he stepped inside, the warmth of the home wrapping around him like a cozy blanket. He was greeted by Ms. Anderson, the real estate agent who had scheduled the showing. Dressed impeccably in a tailored suit, she exuded confidence, her smile wide and welcoming. However, as they began the tour, Marcus sensed an underlying tension that he couldn't quite pinpoint. Conflict: introduction. The initial impressions. As they walked through the expansive rooms, Ms. Anderson showcased the mansion's features. The gourmet kitchen with state-of-the-art appliances, the sun-soaked living room with its breathtaking views, and the serene backyard that felt like a private oasis. Each room seemed to amplify Marcus's dreams, fueling his desire to turn this house into a home. He could almost envision hosting barbecues with friends, family gatherings during the holidays, and quiet evenings spent relaxing with a good book in the library. Yet, with every step, he also felt a nagging apprehension. Ms. Anderson's remarks occasionally veered from informative to dismissive. At one point, as they admired the luxurious master suite, she casually mentioned, "This would be perfect for someone who truly values the finer things in life." The comment struck a nerve, and Marcus's heart sank slightly, sensing an undercurrent of judgment. Did she think he didn't belong here? Did she view him as just another hopeful dreamer rather than a qualified buyer? Rising action. A dream on the line. With each passing minute, Marcus felt his excitement begin to mingle with doubt. He had spent months envisioning this moment, preparing himself for the reality of homeownership. He was determined to overcome any obstacles, but the weight of Ms. Anderson's subtly condescending remarks began to feel like a heavy anchor, pulling him down. The pinnacle of his anxiety came as they approached the backyard, where the setting sun cast a golden glow over the garden, making it appear almost ethereal. Marcus felt a sense of peace wash over him, envisioning children playing and friends laughing around a fire pit. But as he shared his vision of what life would be like here, Ms. Anderson's dismissive smile made it clear that she didn't take him seriously. The turning point. A subtle insult. Finally, as they returned to the foyer, Marcus gathered his courage and asked a straightforward question about the financing options available for the home. With a smirk that felt more like an affront than a response, Ms. Anderson looked him up and down, her eyes narrowing slightly. "You do know that buying a mansion requires more than just a decent paycheck, right?" she quipped, her tone dripping with condescension. The air in the room seemed to thicken, and time slowed as the words hung in the air. Marcus felt a rush of heat rise to his cheeks. Embarrassment washed over him like cold water. In that moment, he felt utterly humiliated, stripped of the confidence that had driven him to this point. Here he was, a man who had worked tirelessly to achieve his dreams, standing before someone who seemed to see only his skin color and not the worth of his aspirations. Marcus sat in his small apartment later that evening, the flickering glow of the television casting shadows on the walls, the familiar sounds of the city outside, horns honking, sirens wailing, felt strangely distant. The disappointment of the day lingered, gnawing at him like an uninvited guest. He had spent so much time dreaming about that mansion, only to have it tainted by the callousness of an agent who saw him as less than he was. But amid the hurt and frustration, a steely resolve began to form within him. He would not let one negative experience extinguish his dreams. Instead, he would use it as fuel to propel him forward. Background: reflecting on past battles. Sitting on his couch, Marcus looked around at his modest surroundings. Memories flooded his mind. His childhood home filled with laughter. The countless nights spent studying under the dim light of a desk lamp. The sacrifices his parents made to give him opportunities. They had taught him that life was filled with obstacles, but those obstacles were not insurmountable. He remembered his mother's words: "It's not the challenges you face that define you. It's how you respond to them." With that mantra echoing in his mind, he felt a wave of determination wash over him. After a long day of disappointment, he decided to take action. Instead of retreating into self-pity, he would arm himself with knowledge. He reached for his laptop and began to research everything he could about the home buying process, the real estate market, and financing options available for potential homeowners. He wanted to be prepared, to show that he was more than capable of making his dreams a reality. Setting the scene: a night of research. The room was dimly lit, the soft glow of the screen illuminating his face as he immersed himself in articles and videos about real estate. He learned about different types of mortgages, the importance of credit scores, and how to negotiate effectively with agents. He jotted down notes, his mind racing with ideas and strategies. This wasn't just about buying a home anymore. It was about reclaiming his dignity and proving that he belonged in the world of luxury real estate. As the hours passed, he lost track of time, fueled by the urgency to turn his dreams into reality. His determination was palpable. He felt a surge of energy coursing through him. This was no longer just about a mansion. It was about standing up for himself and others who might face similar prejudices. Rising action. Planning for success. The next day, Marcus contacted a local real estate attorney to better understand his rights as a potential homebuyer. He wanted to ensure he was equipped with the knowledge to navigate any biases or discriminatory practices that might come his way. He was determined to learn everything he could, to ensure that no one could undermine his dream again. As he met with the attorney, Marcus felt empowered. They discussed fair housing laws, what constituted discrimination, and how to advocate for oneself in the face of adversity. The attorney listened intently as Marcus shared his story, nodding in understanding. "You have every right to pursue your dream," she said firmly. "Never let anyone tell you otherwise." With renewed confidence, Marcus left the meeting, feeling as though he had regained control over his narrative. He made a plan to visit other properties in the area, seeking out homes that fit within his budget. He would not only show Ms. Anderson, but the entire real estate community that he was serious about homeownership. Climax. A defiant step forward. A week later, Marcus scheduled viewings of several properties, ensuring that he chose different agents for each appointment. He wanted to experience a range of interactions, hoping to find an agent who would respect him and take him seriously. The morning of his first viewing, he felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. The stakes felt high. This was more than just a house. It was a statement of his resolve. The first property he visited was a charming 4-bedroom home nestled in a quiet neighborhood. The agent, Mr. Thompson, greeted him with a warm handshake and a genuine smile. "Welcome. I'm glad to see you. Let's take a look around," he said enthusiastically. As they walked through the house, Mr. Thompson asked Marcus about his vision for the space, genuinely interested in his plans. For the first time since that fateful day at the mansion, Marcus felt respected. "This place has potential," Marcus said, his excitement bubbling to the surface. "I can already picture how I would set up the living room for family gatherings." The unexpected twist, a chance encounter. Just as they were finishing the tour, Marcus noticed a familiar face approaching. Ms. Anderson. She was showing another property a few doors down, and spotted him through the front window. He felt a mix of emotions. Would she recognize him? Would she dismiss him again? As Ms. Anderson stepped closer, Marcus braced himself. "Oh, it's you," she said, feigning surprise. "I didn't expect to see you here. Looking for a new home?" "I am," he replied, keeping his tone steady. "I'm exploring my options and finding a place that truly fits my needs." To his astonishment, her demeanor shifted slightly, and for a brief moment, he sensed a flicker of respect in her gaze. "Well, good luck with your search. I hope you find something you love," she said, before turning to continue her tour. As Marcus drove home that day, a sense of triumph washed over him. He realized that this was his journey, and he would not allow anyone to dictate how it unfolded. The encounter with Ms. Anderson had felt empowering, and he knew he had taken significant steps toward claiming his dream. That night, he sat down to reflect on the day, feeling grateful for the lessons he had learned. He realized that it wasn't just about finding a home. It was about asserting his identity, his worth, and his right to pursue his dreams without prejudice. The seed of change had been planted, and Marcus felt a newfound sense of purpose. He was determined to not only find a home, but to challenge the status quo and advocate for others in the community who faced similar challenges. As he lay in bed that night, he couldn't help but smile, envisioning a future filled with possibility. A week passed since Marcus's empowering day of house viewings. He remained optimistic about finding a home that would serve as a sanctuary for his family. As he scoured listings online and met with different real estate agents, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Every phone call he made, every listing he studied, brought him one step closer to his dream. What he didn't know was that a chance encounter would change everything. Background: the ripple effects of determination. Marcus had become a regular at a local coffee shop near his apartment, using the cozy atmosphere to fuel his daily research on real estate. It was a small, independent cafe owned by a woman named Clara, who had seen him come in almost every day. The comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the soft chatter of customers surrounded him as he sat at his usual corner table. Clara, a middle-aged woman with warm eyes and a welcoming smile, always greeted him with a nod, appreciating his dedication. "Back at it again, I see," she remarked one morning as she poured him his favorite blend. "Absolutely," Marcus replied with a smile. "Just trying to find my place in this world." As he scrolled through listings, he felt the weight of the previous month's events lift off his shoulders. He had taken his setbacks and turned them into lessons, and he was ready to share his journey with others. Rising action. A new connection. One afternoon, while Marcus was immersed in his research, he overheard a conversation between two women at the table next to him. They were discussing a community event designed to help local residents navigate the home buying process. It was a workshop hosted by the Neighborhood Association, aiming to educate potential buyers on financing options, housing rights, and the importance of community engagement. "That sounds amazing," one woman said enthusiastically. "I've been wanting to buy a home, but I just don't know where to start." Marcus's ears perked up, and he couldn't resist interjecting. "Excuse me, but I couldn't help but overhear. When is the workshop? I'd love to attend." The women turned to him, surprised but intrigued. "Oh, it's next Saturday at the community center," the second woman replied. "They're bringing in a panel of experts to answer questions." "Sounds like exactly what I need," Marcus said, his excitement bubbling over. "I really appreciate the heads up." After a brief chat, the women exchanged contact information with Marcus, and he felt a surge of hope. The community was stepping up to support individuals like him, and it inspired him even more. Climax: the community workshop. On the day of the workshop, Marcus arrived early, eager to absorb as much knowledge as he could. The community center buzzed with energy. People from all walks of life gathered, exchanging stories and ideas. Marcus felt a sense of camaraderie as he mingled with other prospective buyers, sharing his own experience. The workshop began with a panel of experts: a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, and a legal advisor specializing in housing rights. Each speaker shared invaluable information, breaking down complex processes into manageable steps. Marcus took copious notes, his heart racing with the realization that he was not alone in his journey. During a Q&A session, Marcus felt a surge of courage. He raised his hand and shared his experience with Ms. Anderson, recounting the humiliation he faced. "I want to know how I can ensure that I'm treated with respect in this process," he asked, his voice steady. The real estate agent, a woman named Susan, nodded in understanding. "Unfortunately, discrimination still exists in our industry, but you have every right to stand up for yourself. Always trust your instincts and seek agents who treat you fairly. Don't hesitate to report anyone who makes you feel uncomfortable." Marcus absorbed her words, feeling a renewed sense of empowerment. The workshop ended with attendees mingling, exchanging contact information, and sharing their experiences. This was the community spirit he had been hoping to find. The unexpected twist: an offer from an ally. As Marcus chatted with a few participants, he met a man named David, who had recently purchased his first home. David was eager to help others navigate the complexities of the home buying process. "If you ever need advice or someone to look over your paperwork, just let me know," he offered. Grateful for the connection, Marcus felt a newfound sense of hope. As they talked more, David revealed that he had faced his own challenges with discrimination, but had successfully purchased a home through perseverance and community support. "You can do it, too," David said. "Don't give up. It's hard, but you're stronger than you think." That evening, Marcus returned home, feeling energized and inspired. He had formed valuable connections that would aid him in his journey, and he was beginning to see the path forward more clearly. Fallout: facing challenges head-on. The following week, Marcus dove into the house hunting process with renewed vigor. Armed with knowledge and support, he began to reach out to various agents, determined to find someone who would take him seriously. After several disappointing interactions, he finally connected with a new agent named Lily, who specialized in helping first-time homebuyers. During their initial meeting, Marcus felt an instant connection with her. "I've worked with a diverse group of clients, and I understand the importance of treating everyone with respect," she assured him. "Your dreams matter, and I'm here to help you achieve them." As they discussed his budget and preferences, Marcus felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He could finally focus on finding a home instead of worrying about being judged. Lily's positivity was contagious, and he found himself dreaming about the possibilities ahead. Reflection: a new perspective on resilience. Over the next few weeks, Marcus continued his search, buoyed by Lily's encouragement and the support he had found in the community. He began to feel a sense of ownership over his journey, realizing that while obstacles existed, they did not define him. He was reclaiming his narrative, and with each house he viewed, he felt a little closer to his dream. Despite setbacks and moments of doubt, Marcus remained steadfast in his pursuit. He understood that the journey toward homeownership was not just about finding a house. It was about standing up for his dignity and asserting his place in the world. Each viewing, each conversation, each setback transformed him into a stronger advocate for himself and others who faced similar challenges. As Marcus reflected on his journey so far, he recognized the power of community, resilience, and advocacy. He felt proud of himself for not giving up, for pushing through the obstacles that had once seemed insurmountable. The support he received from new friends, family, and unexpected allies had reshaped his perspective on what it meant to be a homeowner. In that moment, he resolved to not only pursue his own dreams, but to help others in the community navigate their journeys as well. He envisioned hosting workshops or support groups for first-time homebuyers, sharing the knowledge he had gained, and empowering others to stand up for their rights. With his heart set on the future and a sense of purpose guiding him, Marcus felt ready for whatever lay ahead. The road to homeownership was still long, but he was prepared to walk it with courage, determination, and the unwavering belief that he was deserving of every opportunity. The anticipation weighed heavy in the air as Marcus entered the quaint brick house nestled in a peaceful neighborhood. It was a charming two-story home, its yard adorned with vibrant flowers that danced in the gentle breeze. After weeks of searching and countless viewings, he could feel a palpable energy surrounding this moment. As he stood on the porch, heart racing, he couldn't help but think this could be the place where his dreams finally took root. Background: the importance of community. Over the last few weeks, Marcus had not only worked closely with Lily, his real estate agent, but also built relationships with his community. He became a familiar face at the local coffee shop, and the workshops he attended were beginning to bear fruit. With each passing day, Marcus found himself more connected to the community and its people. Conversations with fellow residents had led to unexpected friendships, and he was often invited to gatherings that celebrated local culture. Marcus was particularly drawn to the community's focus on diversity and inclusivity, which resonated deeply with him. This new sense of belonging had empowered him to step into his identity as a future homeowner with confidence. Rising action: a house full of promise. As he stepped into the house, Marcus marveled at its spacious living room adorned with large windows that let in streams of natural light. The walls were painted a soft beige, offering a blank canvas for his creative ideas. It had a modest yet inviting kitchen that flowed seamlessly into the dining area, a perfect space for family dinners and gatherings with friends. "This place has character," Marcus mused, running his fingers over the polished wood countertops. He could already envision hosting barbecues in the backyard and celebrating holidays with loved ones. Lily noticed the spark in his eyes. "This could be your dream home, Marcus. It checks off a lot of your boxes. Good neighborhood, ample space, and a yard for your daughter to play in." They walked through the rest of the house, and Marcus began to imagine the life he would build here. The upstairs had 3 cozy bedrooms, and he could envision his daughter's laughter echoing through the halls. As they explored the master bedroom, Marcus turned to Lily, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "What do you think? Should I make an offer?" Lily smiled knowingly, sensing the emotional connection Marcus had already forged with the space. "If your heart is telling you this is the one, then I'd say go for it. But let's make sure we're making a smart financial decision too." Climax: the offer and unforeseen obstacles. After careful consideration and discussions with Lily, Marcus decided to make an offer. He felt an exhilarating mix of excitement and anxiety as he submitted the paperwork. He could already picture himself and his daughter moving in, decorating the house, and finally escaping the cycle of temporary living situations. However, that excitement was quickly tempered by an unexpected twist. A few days after his offer was submitted, Marcus received a call from Lily. "I'm so sorry to tell you this, but there's been a competing offer from another buyer, and it's higher than yours. They're coming in strong." Marcus's heart sank. The reality of the situation hit him hard. "What does that mean for me?" he asked, feeling the weight of disappointment bearing down on him. "It means we can either increase your offer, or we can look for other properties. I know it's disappointing, but there are more houses out there," Lily explained gently. Fallout. A tough decision. The news shook Marcus to his core. He had envisioned his life in that home, but now it felt like it was slipping away. He spent the next few hours deep in thought, weighing his options. Was it worth stretching his finances further to secure this house, or should he remain patient and wait for another opportunity? That evening, he confided in David, his new friend from the workshop. "I don't know what to do," he admitted, feeling defeated. "This was the house that felt right. I can't believe it's slipping away from me." David leaned back, considering Marcus's situation. Sometimes the universe pushes us to reevaluate what we really want. If this house is meant for you, it will be, but don't rush into something that could strain your finances. Marcus appreciated the advice but was torn. He wanted to claim this opportunity but also recognized the wisdom in taking a step back. Reflection. A community rallying around him. The next day, as Marcus sat in the coffee shop contemplating his next move, he overheard a couple at a nearby table discussing their own home buying experiences. He felt compelled to join the conversation. "Excuse me," he said, "but I couldn't help but overhear. I'm currently navigating the home buying process myself, and it's been quite the roller coaster." The couple, Mia and Jason, turned to him with understanding smiles. "We've been there," Maya said. "It can feel like a battle sometimes, especially when competing offers are involved." Jason chimed in. "We had a similar situation when we were looking for our home. It can be frustrating, but trust your instincts. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't." Their words resonated with Marcus. He shared his story, including the challenges he had faced with discrimination. To his surprise, Mia and Jason were eager to support him. They connected him with a financial advisor and even offered to help him strategize his next move in the home buying process. The unexpected twist. A revelation from the past. Later that week, as Marcus sat in his favorite corner of the coffee shop, he received a text from Lily. "I have some good news. The other offer fell through, and the sellers are willing to negotiate with you again. Would you like to revisit your offer?" His heart raced with excitement. "Yes, let's do it," he replied, feeling a renewed sense of hope. This time, he was ready to make an offer that aligned with his financial goals. As they met to discuss the new offer, Marcus shared his concerns about the financial aspect. "I don't want to overextend myself," he said, nervous about making the wrong decision. Lily reassured him. "We can work together to make a competitive offer without stretching your finances too thin. The sellers are motivated, and we have a good chance of making this work." Just as they began drafting the new offer, Marcus received a phone call that took him by surprise. It was his estranged father, a man he hadn't spoken to in years. "Marcus, I've been thinking about you. I heard you're trying to buy a house. Can we talk?" Caught off guard, Marcus hesitated. He had always struggled with his father's absence in his life, and now he was uncertain about opening that door again. But he knew he had to confront the past if he wanted to move forward. "Sure, let's talk," he said, his voice steady. The conversation with his father was emotionally charged, filled with long-standing resentments and unhealed wounds. They spoke candidly about their past and the impact it had on Marcus's life. Through the discussion, he realized that the journey to homeownership was not just about finding a physical space. It was also about creating emotional space for healing and reconciliation. By the end of the call, Marcus felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. "I'm trying to buy a house for my daughter and me," he admitted. "It's a big step for me, and I want to make it right." His father expressed a desire to support him, offering to help financially if necessary. Though hesitant, Marcus felt the need to allow his father a chance at redemption. Perhaps in seeking his own home, he could also rebuild his relationship with his father, one step at a time. As he hung up, Marcus turned to Lily, a sense of renewed purpose coursing through him. "Let's do this. I want to make that offer and see where it leads us." With a firm resolve, Marcus felt ready to take the next step in his journey toward homeownership. It was no longer just about a house. It was about building a future filled with possibilities and healing old wounds. With a deep breath, Marcus submitted the revised offer on the house that had captured his heart. As he clicked send, a wave of emotions washed over him: excitement, anxiety, and a flicker of hope that this could finally be the turning point he had been searching for. In the following days, he anxiously awaited a response, each moment filled with anticipation and doubt. Could this finally be the culmination of his long journey toward stability and belonging? Background: the weight of waiting. The wait for the seller's response felt interminable. Each morning, Marcus would wake up, his mind racing with thoughts about the house. He envisioned the weekends spent gardening with his daughter, the birthday parties celebrated in the backyard, and the simple joy of returning home to a place that felt truly his. However, the lingering fear of rejection gnawed at him. Would the sellers accept his offer? Were they still holding out for something better? In those days of uncertainty, Marcus immersed himself in community activities, seeking distraction and connection. He attended neighborhood meetings, joined book clubs, and volunteered at local events, hoping to strengthen his ties and gather support. Through it all, he became known not just as a potential homeowner, but as an engaged member of the community. Despite the busy schedule, the question of the house loomed large in his mind. It was hard to focus on anything else when every moment felt tied to the outcome of that offer. Each day brought renewed tension, and he often found himself replaying the events leading up to this point, analyzing every detail of his interactions with the real estate agent and the sellers. Rising action, the call that changed everything. Finally, after a week of waiting, the call came. It was Lily, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. "Marcus, the sellers accepted your offer. You're officially on your way to becoming a homeowner." Joy erupted within him, and he felt as if the weight of the world had been lifted from his shoulders. "Are you serious? This is amazing," he exclaimed, disbelief mixing with joy. "Yes, but we still have some steps to go through. We need to finalize the paperwork and arrange for the home inspection. It's crucial to ensure everything is in order before you move forward," she reminded him. "Of course, let's do it," Marcus replied, his heart racing with excitement. The vision of his future began to crystallize into reality. Over the next few days, he signed the necessary documents, pored over inspections, and engaged with lawyers, all while planning his daughter's future in their new home. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, driven by the prospect of creating a warm and loving environment for her. Climax: a shocking discovery. As part of the home buying process, a routine inspection was scheduled for the following week. Marcus arrived early, the excitement buzzing in the air as he waited for the inspector to arrive. He had invited Lily to be there, both for support and to ensure everything was proceeding smoothly. The inspector, a seasoned professional named Tom, arrived promptly. After exchanging pleasantries, they embarked on a thorough walkthrough of the house. Marcus felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation, hoping for a clean bill of health for his new investment. As they moved through the rooms, everything seemed perfect until they reached the attic. The inspector carefully climbed the narrow stairs, and Marcus followed, feeling a strange sense of foreboding. Once inside, Tom began to examine the beams and insulation. Suddenly, he paused, his expression shifting from concentration to concern. "Marcus, come here. You need to see this." Marcus approached, dread settling in his stomach. "What is it?" Tom pointed to a section of the wall, peeling paint revealing water damage. "It looks like there's been a significant leak here, and it hasn't been addressed. This could indicate a much larger problem." The news hit Marcus like a ton of bricks. "Are you serious? I can't afford major repairs right now," he stammered, feeling the weight of the world descend upon him again. "I recommend getting a contractor to assess the situation further." "This could complicate the sale," Tom replied, empathy in his voice. Fallout. A difficult decision. That night, as Marcus sat in his small apartment, he struggled with his thoughts. The prospect of homeownership had been so close, but now it felt like everything was falling apart again. He had invested so much hope into this purchase, and the thought of losing it because of unforeseen issues was devastating. He picked up his phone and called Lily. "I need to talk to you about the inspection. There's a serious problem with the attic," he explained, his voice heavy with frustration. "I'm so sorry to hear that, Marcus. Let's meet tomorrow and discuss our options," Lily replied calmly, trying to reassure him. The next day, they gathered to go over the inspection report. Lily presented him with two options: negotiate repairs with the sellers or back out of the deal entirely. "It's your call, but we have to act quickly," she urged. Marcus felt torn. He didn't want to lose the house, but he also didn't want to walk into a financial nightmare. After some thought, he decided to confront the sellers directly. Unexpected twist. The seller's perspective. In a surprising turn of events, during the negotiations, Marcus learned the sellers had a personal connection to the house. They had raised their family there, but after a difficult divorce, they were eager to sell and start fresh. When Marcus expressed his concerns about the repairs needed, they were empathetic. "We didn't realize the extent of the damage," the seller explained, a hint of regret in their voice. "We want to ensure you're happy here, and will help cover some of the repair costs to make this right." Marcus was taken aback by their willingness to compromise. "You don't have to do that," he stammered, unsure of how to respond. "It's important to us that the next owners feel good about this place. We've loved it, and we want to make sure it's a happy home," the seller replied sincerely. Their genuine concern touched Marcus deeply, and for the first time since the inspection, he felt a glimmer of hope return. Reflection. Community support, and a new beginning. In the following weeks, repairs were made, and the community rallied around Marcus. Neighbors offered their help, lending tools and expertise to ensure the renovations went smoothly. He was overwhelmed by the support, with many coming forward to share their own experiences of navigating homeownership, particularly as first-time buyers. Through this process, Marcus not only solidified his ties to the community, but also found a sense of belonging that had been missing for so long. As the renovations progressed, he began to envision life in the home, the laughter of his daughter, the warmth of shared meals, and the love of a space that felt truly his. One evening, as he and his daughter painted the walls of her new room, Marcus paused to reflect on the journey that had led them here. It had been a winding road filled with obstacles, but it was also rich with support and kindness. He felt grateful for every moment of struggle that had brought him closer to this new chapter. With the repairs complete and the paperwork finalized, the day finally arrived for Marcus to move into his new home. As he stood in the living room, surrounded by boxes, he felt a surge of emotion. This was not just a house. It was a fresh start, a sanctuary where he could rebuild his life and create lasting memories. As the sun set over the horizon, casting a warm glow through the windows, Marcus realized that the journey had transformed him in ways he had never anticipated. He had learned to stand up for himself, to navigate challenges, and to embrace community in a way that filled him with hope. He gathered his daughter and sat her down, sharing with her the importance of resilience, community, and the power of dreams. "This house is just the beginning, sweetheart. Together, we'll make it a home filled with love and laughter." In that moment, Marcus felt truly empowered, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. With newfound determination and the support of those around him, he knew he could overcome any obstacle. The future was bright, and he was finally home. As the moving truck pulled up to his new home, Marcus felt a surge of emotions overwhelm him. He stood on the porch, watching the bustling activity of the movers unloading boxes, his heart pounding with excitement and anxiety. This was not just a house. It represented years of hard work, perseverance, and the hope of a brighter future for him and his daughter, Lily. Today marked the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with the promise of stability, community, and love. Background: settling in. The first few days were a whirlwind of unpacking, arranging furniture, and exploring their new neighborhood. Marcus was determined to make the house feel like a home, and he involved Lily in every step of the process. They painted her room together, choosing vibrant colors that reflected her personality. "This is going to be my favorite place in the world," she declared, her eyes sparkling with excitement. As they settled in, Marcus also took the time to explore the surrounding area. He walked Lily to the nearby park, where children laughed and played, families gathered for picnics, and friendly neighbors exchanged greetings. It was everything he had hoped for, a place where they could build a life together, surrounded by a supportive community. In the evenings, they would sit on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Marcus felt a sense of peace wash over him as he listened to the sounds of laughter and joy emanating from the park. For the first time in years, he felt truly content, as if they had finally found their place in the world. Rising action: the unexpected visitor. One afternoon, as Marcus was unpacking boxes in the living room, there was a knock on the door. He opened it to find an older woman with kind eyes and a warm smile standing on the porch. "Hello, I'm Mrs. Jenkins from next door. I just wanted to welcome you to the neighborhood and see if you need any help settling in," she said, her voice gentle and inviting. Grateful for the gesture, Marcus invited her in. As they chatted, Mrs. Jenkins shared stories of the neighborhood and its history. She spoke of block parties, holiday celebrations, and the close-knit community that had formed over the years. "We look out for each other here," she said, her expression earnest. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask." The kindness of Mrs. Jenkins filled Marcus with warmth. He realized that he had not just bought a house. He had joined a community where relationships mattered. After a few more visits, Mrs. Jenkins became a regular fixture in their lives, bringing homemade treats and inviting them to local events. Climax: a community celebration. A month later, Marcus received an invitation to the annual neighborhood block party. Excitement bubbled within him as he considered the opportunity to connect with his neighbors and forge new friendships. He decided to embrace this chance and take Lily along, eager to introduce her to the people he hoped would become their extended family. On the day of the block party, the street was filled with colorful decorations, laughter, and the tantalizing aroma of barbecues. Marcus and Lily arrived, holding hands as they took in the vibrant atmosphere. They were greeted with smiles and waves from neighbors, making Marcus feel welcome and accepted. As they mingled, Marcus felt a growing sense of belonging. He introduced Lily to other children, who quickly became friends, their laughter ringing out like music. The games and activities kept everyone entertained, and as the day progressed, Marcus found himself chatting with other parents and sharing stories about their experiences. The highlight of the evening came when the community gathered for a potluck dinner. Tables were laden with an array of dishes, showcasing the diverse cultures and traditions of the neighborhood. Marcus took a plate and tried a little of everything, savoring the flavors that connected him to this new chapter in his life. As they enjoyed their meal, the neighborhood association president stood up to make an announcement. "We are thrilled to welcome new faces to our community. Marcus and Lily, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you here." The crowd erupted in applause, and Marcus felt a swell of gratitude and joy. Fallout: an unexpected challenge. Just as things seemed perfect, a new challenge arose. A few weeks later, a heavy rainstorm hit the area, causing flooding in several homes, including Marcus's. When he saw water seeping into the basement, panic gripped him. This was not just a setback. It was a reminder of the challenges he had faced before. Rushing to contain the situation, he frantically called for help, but the severity of the situation became evident. Marcus could feel the weight of despair creeping in, and he worried about the financial implications of repairs. How could he manage this while providing for Lily and keeping their home safe. The next day, the community came together to help. Neighbors arrived with tools, buckets, and their expertise to assist Marcus in cleaning up the mess. "We're in this together, Marcus. You're not alone," Mrs. Jenkins assured him, her presence reassuring amid the chaos. With their help, the damage was mitigated and the repair process began. While it was a daunting task, the outpouring of support from the community made a significant difference. Neighbors volunteered their time, and soon, the basement was cleared, dried, and ready for repairs. Reflection: building resilience and bonds. Through this ordeal, Marcus learned the true strength of community. It wasn't just about having people around. It was about the willingness to support one another in times of need. As they repaired the damage together, Marcus formed deeper connections with his neighbors, learning their stories and sharing laughter over shared meals. In the evenings, they would gather to share experiences and bond over their journeys. Marcus found comfort in knowing that he was not alone in his struggles. Many had faced adversity and come out stronger on the other side. This realization filled him with hope and resilience, reminding him that he could overcome any challenge with the right support. One evening, as he sat on the porch with Mrs. Jenkins, she shared her own story of resilience. "When I first moved here, I faced challenges too," she said, her voice soft. "But this community is like family. We lift each other up, and that's what makes it special." Marcus realized that this was the foundation he wanted for Lily, a life where she felt secure, supported, and loved. He vowed to instill the values of kindness, empathy, and community in her, ensuring she understood the importance of helping others. Conclusion: a future filled with promise. As weeks turned into months, Marcus and Lily settled into their new lives with a sense of stability they had never experienced before. The neighborhood became their home, filled with friends, laughter, and a genuine sense of belonging. They celebrated holidays together, held backyard barbecues, and supported one another through life's challenges. Marcus's dream of homeownership had transformed into something more profound, a journey of personal growth, resilience, and connection. Each day, he reminded himself of the importance of standing up for what was right and how every setback could lead to unexpected blessings. As he watched Lily play with her friends in the yard, a smile spread across his face. He was grateful for the community that had embraced them and for the lessons learned along the way. Life wasn't just about owning a house. It was about creating a home filled with love, laughter, and support. In that moment, Marcus knew they were exactly where they were meant to be. With a heart full of gratitude and a renewed sense of purpose, he embraced the future, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing he had a community that would stand beside him every step of the way. "Here's to new beginnings," he whispered to himself, ready to embrace the promise of tomorrow.